Welcome to this week's lecture. And this week, I'm going to be introducing you to the basics of the course content and the theory that we're going to be studying for the rest of the semester. This is going to be a short lecture just designed to introduce you to Urie Bronfenbrenner, who is the large theorist that we will be studying. In addition to some of our other child development theorists, Urie Bronfenbrenner is the larger focus of this class, and he is the theorist who came up with the bioecological or ecological model, and I'll use those terms interchangeably, and many people do. I usually use the ecological model though. I like that, and I think I like that it's because it signifies that we're going to be learning about environments. So environments are really important because we can't just see the child as an individual, because they are, and everybody is unique, but they also exist in an environment of their family, their friends, their neighborhood, where they go to school, who their teacher is, what their parents' job are. So there's immediate environments and environments that the child might not have as much contact with, but still shape the child. So if ecological, we're thinking environment, we're thinking forest, rainforest, outside. The same thing you can kind of apply to a child. So how a child is living in their environment, both their physical environment and also the other environments around them, like family and parenting, and things that we might not necessarily be able to see. So Urie Bronfenbrenner is an interesting guy, and we're lucky that he lived quite a long time. He was born in 1917 in Russia, but when he was very young, he immigrated to Pennsylvania and New York, and primarily lived and worked in the Northeast. He got his bachelor's in psychology, and then he went to Harvard for his master's in the University of Michigan, where he finished up his doctorate. The day after he got his doctorate, he enlisted in World War II, where he served as a psychologist, helping throughout the war as well. After the war, he worked as a psychologist, and then he became a professor in the late 1940s, primarily at Cornell in New York, is where he did most of his work on children and families and their environments. One of the interesting things, though, is Head Start is a large federal program. Maybe your children have gone there, maybe you volunteered there, but it's a very large federal program helping children who are typically 3 to 5 before they go into more formal education. They have a preschool program. And he was one of the kind of developmental psychologists who sat on the board or the panel in order to kind of advise the government on the start of Head Start. So I think that's really, really interesting. It's something that has gone on for more than 50 years, and it has been shown to really improve the lives of children. And he was one of the big theorists that helped with that as well. So we are going to be learning about circles, basically. If I could give you a physical representation of what we're going to be looking like, it would be something like this. So in the middle is the individual. And so the example I'm going to give right now is you as a student. So the only thing that probably is unifying all of you in the class right now is that you are students at a community college. So here you are as an individual. So at the college, your microsystem are the people you're taking classes with. So the people in this class or in lecture-based classes. The teachers are your professors who teach you, and maybe if you're lucky enough to have a mentor as well. Your field or clinical experiences, and for this class, that's going to be your service learning commitment that you have to do for this class. Advisors that you have, like counselors, hopefully you're seeing them regularly in order to be taking the right classes and be on track for either getting permits or getting work experience or transferring as well. Technology, Canvas, you're on Canvas all the time now. That's what we use. No more Blackboard, we are on Canvas, so that's the technology or media that you're going to use as college students. And then you might also have the ability to kind of also go to our doctors, we have nurses, we have librarians, we have counselors, we have tutors. So this is all in your microsystem, and this microsystem is your immediate environment. So at Palomar, what do you do on a weekly basis? You log on to Canvas, you talk to your friends, you learn from your professors, you go see your tutor. That is your microsystem. So here's your student with my little mouse, and here is the microsystem, and the microsystem is your immediate environment. The mesosystem is relationships, links, or connections between the microsystem. So the microsystem would be connections between your peers in your classes. So maybe you get along really, really well with somebody, did a group project, and you knocked it out of the park, and you sign up for another class, and that person happens to be in that class. You might walk over and want to do the group project with them, again, because you know that they're rad, they're really good students, they're really committed. So that would be a mesosystem. So that would be a connection between the peers that you're taking classes with and the courses that you're doing as well. Another one would be in this class, your field experience and me. I'm a professor, and this class requires that you do field experience, which is service learning. So that's a mesosystem. That's a connection between me and field or clinical experience. Now, if we were to go a little bit out, we would be in the exosystem. And this is the college, the transfer level work to get into a university, departmental structure. So this would be human or probably human resources. You maybe work at human resources, I'm not sure, but most of students don't ever come in contact with human resources. You wouldn't even know where it was on the main campus. But it has a big impact on who your teachers are, because they're hiring the teachers. Are they hiring people that are diverse? Do they need to work on that more? Are they making sure that the professors who are teaching you have the credentials and the necessary experience and the necessary education in order to be a good professor? So who HR is hiring definitely impacts you as a student to make sure that you have good teachers. What's the mission? Every college, every university has a mission statement or a diversity statement, and that should be, in this field, it should be about education and what kind of education and respect you deserve to feel. Your administration, how we're researching, what your professors are researching on their hours when they're not teaching as well. Programs of study, do they have what you need? Do they not have what you need? Are they going to help you be able to transfer? Do they have it well organized so you know what the next classes are in order to transfer to a Cal State or to your university? So those are the things that maybe you don't come in contact with a lot, but they're definitely going to affect you as a student. So also in your exosystem would be like IT. So you probably don't talk to IT all of the time, but when you have a problem with Canvas, which is in your microsystem, you're definitely going to come in contact with them, and you're going to want them to really help you. Then our last one is the macro. So instead of micro, which is small, macro, which is big, this would be a state agency. So we're credentialed. They have to come out. The chancellor's office has to come out and make sure that we're doing a good job. This would be legal mandates. So they change laws. They make an acts up in Sacramento at the state level about community college, how many students can be in classes, what kind of classes we have to offer. They were changing ones right now about making it easier for you guys to go ahead and to transfer. You're also going to have ethics, values, beliefs about education. So around you, does your culture think that education is important? Do they value education? Does your community think it's worthwhile for you to be here? So you can see how culture, values, attitudes, legal changes, the state can all trickle down and affect you as well. So that is it as a whole, using you as a Palomar or a community college student as an example. Also, we can also look at it from a child's point of view. So if the child was very much in the middle, who is affecting the child? So the child's an individual. They are probably a certain age. They identify as a certain sex or gender. They have a culture. They probably have a health status. You know, when I was younger, I had asthma, so I was a little bit, I was more in and out of doctor's offices, and so that affected how much I could go to school, things like that. The individual also has a family structure and a personality as well. In their microsystem is their neighborhood or community, their school, so they go to preschool, if they go to elementary school, if they're homeschooled, their family, so their immediate family and their larger family, whoever is important to them. This could be an adopted family, this could be a family that you choose, and then your peers are friends, so the people that you choose to kind of hang out with. I also, and many of us also add media. So this is videos, TV, podcasts, radio shows, newspapers, books, magazines, the internet, all social media, any kind of technology, Canvas, all of that type of stuff. It's so prevalent in our lives now, especially technology, that media is kind of the fifth part of our microsystem as well. So it's community or neighborhood, media, school, family, and peers or friends. So the micro, once again, impacts the children. So that is really important. In our mesosystem, though, that is links, relationships, and connections between the microsystem. So between home and school, or between parents and school, or your extended family and your parents, or your friends and your neighborhood. Where can you play, or parks, things like that. So that is your immediate connection, your immediate surroundings, your family, your friends, your schools, your peers, and your media, and also those connections as well. So it's really important that we kind of think about those links and connections, because what if your parent didn't want you to play outside a lot? They thought the neighborhood was dangerous, the cars are too fast. That might impact how many peers or friends you have. You're not allowed to go outside. Maybe you're not allowed to go to a community center or a park. That might impact the amount of friendships that you have, which could impact you in different parts of your individual development. All right, and then our EXO. So this is the EXO system again. For young children, this would be the school board. So typically all public schools, all schools of any kind are going to have a board, and that helps with educational decisions about hiring people, about firing people, about budget, where money goes, how is it allocated. Also for a child, I would consider it the parent's job. They're a firefighter and they're gone for really long hours, but then they might be home for 3 days in a row. Same with nurses. Do their parents work a 9 to 5? Do they work the weekend? That affects how much time the child can spend with their parents, and those types of hours, and healthcare and money and things like that also affect children. Same with the city council. So any neighborhood or community that you live in, the city council, the mayor, county supervisors, they all are going to make decisions that are going to affect children. Maybe they were going to put a new pool in, but they decided not to, and they're going to spend it somewhere else. That might impact children's ability to swim or a community's ability to develop water safety. Same with social services, so your ability not only to kind of take advantage of things we might think of like WIC or food stamps or Section 8, but also the roads we drive on, ambulances, all the things that we kind of take for granted in our communities as well. This would also be in our EXO system. And then the last one is our macro system. So this is politics, society, economics, the nation that you grow up in, your attitudes, beliefs, values, ideologies of your culture, or maybe religion as well. So it's not just physical, and it's not just where you live, but it's emotions, it's ideologies, it's very much kind of the outside working on the inside. So your culture and how you grow up, you might not be able to see or to feel, but you know it exists, and it changes your attitudes and your values all the time. Changes in laws, changes in money, the economy, recessions, how much money your family has, how much money your community has, all of that is going to affect you as a child and how you're growing up. So my grandmother, who grew up in the Great Depression, had a very different experience growing up than my dad did, who grew up after the war, baby boomer, time of prosperity, and then me as well, coming into adulthood at around 9/11, 19 and 20 years old, first job, starting to work, and then changes with kind of conflicts and war. So all of us kind of have a chronosystem, which is life transitions and events, and this is kind of part of the system. So typically we represent it as a line or an arrow at the top or on the side, and that is life transitions and events that affect the macro, micro, and exosystems as well. So this is the difference in generations between my grandfather, my grandmother, my dad, and myself. And this can also be historical events that happened, like the Great Depression or 9/11. And this can also be across my development or my lifespan as well. So being middle-aged, being almost 40, what are some changes that I have experienced in my lifetime? That would be both personally and larger than that, that would be part of my chronos system. So that is all of the the system. So here is a picture of a child. So this is a little boy in the middle, and this is his parents. This is his kindergarten. This is his soccer team. These are the values that his parent has. I would also put in media, what is his favorite thing to watch? Probably PBS right here. What do we know about his extended family? Where does he go to the doctor? What socioeconomic class is he? Where does he go to grocery store? He plays on a soccer team as well. He lives in North America. And then larger, he's part of Modesto City Schools. He's part, his mom works at the junior college. They live in California in the late, and so he's about 10 years old now. So what's happened in the last 10 years. So this is an example of how we could kind of look at a child. And this is very brief and very broad right now because it's the first week of class. So we're going to get more into depth into this as we go along. All right, so if I was going to do the same thing with Kim Kardashian, this would be what I would kind of look at. So if I was to have Kim Kardashian in the middle as an individual, we could talk about the fact that she's 38. She has 4 children. She lives in Southern California. She has pretty good health. She has some health issues like psoriasis, and she had a difficult time carrying some of her children and giving birth to them. But overall, she's got pretty good health. In her microsystem would be her husband and her kids. Also her media, she's very much on social media. That's a huge part of it. She runs a lot of her businesses online. Her family seems to be her friends. She has other friends, but a lot of her friends seem to be her family, who she also chooses as well. She's going to law school right now, so that would also be in her microsystem. Or she's not going to law school, she's apprenticing to be a lawyer. That's an interest that she has taken in the last couple of years. Outside of her microsystem, we would probably talk about her job. She has a lot of different jobs that she uses social media with. She's unusual in that she has a momager, or a lot of her family is considered her friends. And then because she's so close-knit with her family, her mom also helps run her career as well. If we were to look farther out, oh, and in her exosystem too, I should have a firefighter, because she's pretty interesting in that a lot of us have to use social services. We have to drive on roads, we have to take the bus, we go to community college, or we work at community college, we have firefighters. If we get hurt, we have the paramedics. Kim Kardashian, and we had those really bad fires, she actually, her and Kanye hired private firefighters to kind of protect their house. So these are private people, not part of the state or social services. So that's interesting in that in her exosystem, she can actually kind of opt out of a social service that many of us need to use. And that's because she's extremely, extremely wealthy and comes from a wealthy family as well. If I was to look into her macro, I would probably do her religion. She seems to be fairly religious, and so does Kanye. They go to church, and he is singing more kind of religiously themed music. So their, Christian religion might impact who they are, how they're raising their kids, how they live as well. And then she seems to be fairly in touch with kind of her Armenian heritage as well, and has gone back there. So that Armenian culture from her dad might also impact who she is and how she's living as well. So today I've given you a lot of different examples from you as a Palomar student to what a hypothetical child might look like to Kim Kardashian, to try to just kind of understand or have a broad view of this theory. The rest of this class is going to be going, because it's 15 more weeks, is going to be looking really in depth at this and learning about child development by looking at an ecological model. Thanks so much, and I will see you guys next week. Email me if you need any support.